Join me, Phil Stephanie, and Russell Gerber on an interactive show designed to give you more insight and context to all things Africam.
Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. Here we are again for another wonderful edition of On Point. My name is Russell Gerber, and of course, a big welcome to all of our viewers around the world. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Today, we're going to be going into a wonderful topic, something we get asked about a lot from our viewers out there and from all of our subscribers, and that is what makes a great Africam location. And we've got the incredible Paul Penzorn with us today. We're going to be going through all different aspects of how we choose a location for our cameras. We're going to go into some technical aspects, location considerations, and of course our partner and NGO interests. We'll also touch on what's planned and how your subscriptions help us achieve those goals. And as always, please send through your questions and we'll do our best to get to them towards the end of the show if we have time. So that's really the plan for today. And without further ado, welcome Mr. Paul Penzorn, partner at Africam.com and Bush cable guy extraordinaire. Paul, thanks for being with us today. It's great to have you.
Thanks, Russell. It's always great to spend some time with you, and thanks for having me on your show.
Well, it's our pleasure. We didn't really have a choice, to be honest, folks. But we're going to have a great time today, everybody. And as I said, please send through those questions if there's anything on your mind. So first and foremost, everybody, we're going to get into the basic criteria of our Africam location. So, Paul, what is our basic criteria?
Thanks, Russ. The basic criteria for a great location, we kind of break it down into four pillars. It's the technical, it's the partners, it's the NGO, and it's the location. I'll start with the technical. And, the most important thing with this sort of operation is bandwidth. And as you can see on the video there, one of the sort of setups we've got is we actually beam up into a mountain and down into Hoedspruit and up into AWS Cloud. And the real success of delivering this product is about delivering great bandwidth so that we can deliver full HD footage to anyone, anywhere around the world. Another criteria for a great location is the location itself. And for this, what we normally do is we go and we take sort of aerial footage to get a good idea of the location, where the animals come from. If we've got line of sight, to a tower that we can broadcast from. And just also, we break it down into sort of landscape. If there's no animals on there, we obviously want the viewers to have a good sort of landscape of Africa. And then also the criteria is there's got to be great animals. And, our goal is to, every camera sort of looks after or tries to see a certain kind of animal so that we can bring you the big five and some sort of some of the all the other critters. And the picture you can see here up on your screen at the moment is our installation at Rosie's. There you will see in the background, you can see the solar panels there. And, so for that location, we always like to try and get sort of mains power in there. But there we've used solar panels. And those are really sort of, from a technical standpoint, that's what we look for is bandwidth and power. I mean, those are the really sort of two sort of fundamental things that we need from a technical side.
Okay, so obviously there's a lot more involved than a lot of us know about. And I know that a lot of our viewers out there wonder, how do we get them out there, which you've answered in terms of how we go through our signals and how we get them out to the rest of the world. But when you're actually going in there, what are some of the challenges in terms of connectivity? A lot of our questions and viewers ask, why do we lose signal? How do we lose sound sometimes? What is really the cause for that most of the time, obviously?
Yeah, Russ, we've got two enemies, and they're called lightning and baboons. So, we sort of try and sort of make everything as safe as possible. But, if the sound goes down or the connectivity goes down, it's normally there's been a lightning strike at a radio, or if the sound goes down, baboons come and had a sort of a play date with it. So we try our best to sort of make everything as secure as possible, but unfortunately we haven't found a solution to the baboons or the lightning yet.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I know if we want to get as wild as possible, we have to deal with the animals being around and, of course, getting in the way of some of our production sometimes. But I know it can be frustrating for a lot of us, and of course for you, Paul, as well, which is obviously a huge challenge. But something else that I think we wonder when you have these technical issues that we've spoken about, how long and who do you turn to when things go down?
Yeah, look, we've got technical people in various parts in Africa, and a lot of our systems are sort of, you try and make them as plug and play as possible. And if something goes down, so if lightning strikes, we always say something's got to blow. So we try and make it that whatever sort of gets blown by lightning, we can replace as soon as possible. COVID's made it extremely difficult. We haven't been able to travel and get access to certain sites. So we're sort of really looking from a technical standpoint at the moment to have a sort of turnaround time of a week, where we can send the parts out and replace. And we're even putting spare parts, sort of vital parts, on locations now. So we try and bring it down to sort of 48, 72 hours, because if the sound's down, it's just not the same. So, and we're getting better, but it's been tough with COVID. But I think we're getting over the hill, and hopefully, the cameras have been. We sort of look at about a 96% uptime, which is not too bad.
Yeah, it is amazing how it can take some time to actually get things going, but the challenges of actually getting these incredibly complicated equipment up and running, I know, is really ongoing. So thanks to the teams out there for you guys, getting out there and getting it fixed, having to look over your shoulder while a couple of lions are hanging around. It's a tough job, but we appreciate it. So thanks, Paul, and thanks to the team out there. Now, the next little criteria we were chatting about was location. So we've touched on a number of the technical issues, and if you have any more questions out there about the technical stuff, let us know. But we're going to go on to the issues on location. Biggest question on everyone's mind is what sort of a location is preferable? Are you looking for more scenic things, or are you more wildlife focused? What sightings are you hoping for?
Yeah, I think I touched on it a little bit earlier, but I mean, the first thing is we want to give you great sightings. Africa is not just about seeing wild animals; it's about sort of really experiencing the bush. And here we've got a great video of this is Rivercam, and some of the sort of footage that we did with Amazon AWS. And we put cameras up, and we actually sort of try and sort of get a feeling for the location. So we put this camera up here at Mrs. Apaluli, and what it does is it gives us a good idea of the animals that are coming in. It gives us a great idea of the sounds. And we sort of say, does this encapsulate Africa? Does it make you feel like you're in Africa? So that's really what we always, the basics of Africam is really trying to sort of transport you into Africa. And another great example I'll give you now is coming up is sunsets. People just love sunsets. Everyone's, if you've been on an African safari, one of the highlights is having a gin and tonic at a sunset, and it kind of takes you back. Or it might be a sunrise down the Olifants like this, having coffee in a tin cup. Another thing that we find hugely popular, and we always look for, is the small things like birds, sort of the sort of odd birds that you'll find, and they've been extremely popular, with the birding community. So we're not just looking for animals; we're looking for birds. And the nice thing about birds is they make sounds. So if there's nothing on the camera, a lot of people might like the bird sounds. Here's another great picture that I think was taken at Kwa Moraton of a bird. And another criteria for the camera for location is, we've realized that night times where a lot of the action happens. So we try and sort of put the cameras in locations where we're going to catch the sort of the lions, or here's a great another example. This one was a crocodile and I think a heron having some great interaction the other night. And all these pictures that I'm showing you now have been taken within the last, I think, 48, 72 hours on Africam. So the stuff, it's a constant sort of roll of content. We also look for that. We don't want you to sit at home and get too bored. So that's what we look for. At the end of the day, it's about bringing you all the animals. It's about the sights and the sounds. But we've got a very simple criteria at Africam. It's like we really want to make you feel like you're there. And if location does that, then for us that's a success.
Yeah, it must be really challenging. Some of the questions we get, and we've got one now as well from one of our viewers out there. When teams are on site, will animals avoid people, or is there a specific time of day that is best to brave the wild, to fix equipment?
It's a great question. I've got two very good short stories for you. The one was when we were putting up elephant plains. A lion came, and me not, I was with two rangers, and I just saw this lion and ran and jumped in the car, and the rangers laughed at me and said, "Look, you've got nothing to worry about. They actually, they've hunted and they're quite full and they won't go for you." So people are, animals are curious and they'll come and have a look, but the rangers know when to walk away. A couple of years ago, when we still had the infrared lights, we had to put them at the tree at Tembe. Vern, one of our guys on the ground there, him and Ernest do a great job at Tembe. He was putting up a new infrared light at the tree, so he couldn't see, and he was standing on his Land Rover, and a huge tusker came up right behind him, and all he could do was hear it. But I could see through the camera. I was helping him remotely from Cape Town, and he was on his cell phone and said to me, "Paul, I can hear anything. Is there anything there?" And I said, "No, Vern, there's nothing there. Don't worry. Just keep on putting up the lights." So, they're very curious, but we always have a ranger with us. We've got to be careful. But yeah, it's we're getting better, and if the animals come out of curiosity, then we sort of we have to respect that and move away.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, that was Stephanie who sent in that question for us. Thanks, Stephanie. It was a great question. I know we've had, I've had similar sorts of experiences in the bush, and it's easy to forget where you are when you're out there, whether you be on holiday or enjoying the bush by yourself or in a safari camp, or like Paul says, you're actually working out there and putting in gear. Sometimes, you can lose track of where you are and how wild the area is. And as you say, Stephanie, for the most part, the animals actually will avoid contact with people as much as they can. And yeah, timing does matter about when you do get them installed. It is all about trying to get the least amount of traffic. So early morning, once the sun is out and once things are a little lighter all around, not too early because you don't want to run into the cats who still have some energy, but that will normally be, I would think, the best time for these sorts of installations. Paul?
Yeah, mornings are always good. You also find when it gets hot, all the animals sort of disappear. So, which is not great for us because it gets very hot in the bush, but we try and keep it safe. So, installations are never easy, but you've always got to sort of err on the safe side.
Awesome. All right. So the next little part we wanted to get into is, of course, the partners and NGOs. So that the partners, we mean the lodges and, of course, the various NGOs that we're involved with, that we've partnered up with around our locations. And, of course, what part they play in this whole game. So I guess one of the questions on my mind is, for the lodges, Paul, and also, our other partners out there, why would they want an Africam camera on site?
Yeah, Russ, that's a great question. 20 years ago, 10 years ago even, we were the crazy guys who were putting in cameras, and no one knew why they wanted an Africam. And what's been great through this whole journey is we found out that we're helping not just NGOs but lodges. And I'll start with the NGOs and especially the anti-poaching side of it. Here you can see a picture of the black mambas who we work with in Baluli, putting up a camera on the back of a safari truck, and also watching our feeds in their headquarters. So what we really found out, and we've worked with some researchers on this, is that our feeds help the anti-poachers sort of know where the animals are. Rhinos, don't go too far away from water, and other animals. So the anti-poachers units do use our cameras, and they enjoy the cameras, and they see sort of value in it, which is great. And it's we sort of really building this relationship with the anti-poaching unit. Africam's whole sort of being is that we were profit for change, profit for purpose business, and however we expand, we need to be helping anti-poaching and and conservation, because they really do work hand in hand. The other sort of partner in this is obviously the lodge. And the lodge has to sort of see value in Africam, and if the lodges know where the animals are, they can send their vehicles there. Khaled Naledi's got a great sort of attitude towards it, where you can be having dinner at night, and he has the cameras up in where you eat there in the bar, and if you see a leopard and you want to go and see it, a ranger's there in 3 minutes, and you jump in the car and off you go. So they see huge value in it, and they can track the movement of the animals. They can even sort of use it to sort of count certain animal species and things like that. Moving on to sort of the NGOs that we partnering with coming up as well. We just started a great partnership with Care for Wild, which is the largest rhino sanctuary, and we're looking to sort of retell their story and bring people into the sort of conservation of rhinos, and hopefully launching it the next couple of weeks. That really excites us. I mean, just to see the work that these people do, we're hoping that somehow we can bring awareness and help tell the story of what they do through the live cameras. They're one of the NGOs that we're launching with. The other NGOs we're also launching with is BirdLife at Camphis Dam. We're going to put a camera up for the pink flamingos. Again, they've never really sort of had good data on the flamingos, and a live camera is going to add huge value to their research. And pink flamingos are the lesser flamingos, hugely popular worldwide. So again, it works for the NGO and it works for Africam's audience. And then another favorite who we are going to partner with again is the Black Eagles of Rudacrans. And they were huge. We had them on Africam a while ago, and it was a huge success with the community naming the chicks. And again, it's a great way to sort of monitor the chicks and the progress of the Black Eagles. And they've got a huge community, and they're extremely popular worldwide, probably one of the most successful sort of Black Eagle breeding projects. And the NGOs are happy, our viewers are happy, and again, it falls into our profit for change sort of model, and that's really important. If all the partners, whether it be the lodge or the NGO or our viewers, aren't happy, then our whole model still doesn't work. And that's what really excites us, is that we're adding value to everyone.
Oh, that's awesome! I can't wait for us to start featuring some of these things on the show. I'm sure we'll be going through them on Point, and we'll be chatting in much more detail about them on ranger shows, things like that. And that's really exciting. I'm sure many of you guys out there like me are pretty excited about the potential for what's coming up. So that's really interesting in terms of the lodges. I know many of us have seen vehicles arriving at sites after we've already seen them on the camera. I know a few days ago, many of you may have seen that leopard at Rosie's, and a few minutes later, the vehicles showed up. That leopard was clearly a little bit more shy. As soon as the vehicles came, he disappeared, and I'm not even sure they saw him. So to me, it's certainly another great advantage of the cameras too, that we get to enjoy the animals so often. And even though the lodges get a better opportunity to see them, we seem to be on the front line. So that's awesome, Paul. I'm excited about what's to come. So on that note, we're going to move on to what's the future of Africam. Paul, you've touched on a couple of the NGOs that we're going to be joining up with. We've talked about some of the great new exciting ventures with the Black Eagles, the rhinos, and of course the flamingos. Anything else on the horizon that we should be holding on for?
Yeah, Russ, the sort of backbone of what we're trying to achieve is grow a subscription base of users who want to help us sort of grow our network. As I sort of said, our network's about putting cameras in places that are going to add value to conservation, anti-poaching, and obviously to the viewer. And one of the things that that we're sort of playing with and hopefully launching soon is putting cameras in sort of, for a better word, it's almost courtside. It's right there, sort of in the action, where you get really close to the animals, so you get a better angle of the sighting. And with our subscription product is, we want the subscriber to feel that they're getting, one, a better experience, and two, that they're helping conservation. So, we're really excited to launch this. We're relaunching it, and our sort of goal is to make the people anywhere around the world feel that they're making a difference and they're getting a real sort of authentic Africa experience. And if we can get that right, I think that it's something that we really just want to sort of, through our subscribers, just sort of try and grow into other reserves. We started at Baluli with partners with Naledi and the Black Mamas, and we feel that it's now becoming a successful blueprint that we really want to grow, and it really excites us. So, when you ask what does the future hold for Africam, we want more cameras. And with more cameras becomes us really trying to sort of expand what our sort of mission is, which is really to sort of help the NGOs and bring everyone to Africa.
Awesome. Well said, Paul. It sounds really, really exciting. And I know there's a number of spots out there that many of you have asked about if it would ever be possible to get cameras in there. All sorts of special wildlife areas around the world. Certainly around Africa, which we'll focus on for the time being before global domination. But really exciting times, and as always, Paul, a pleasure to have you with us on the show, and thank you for all the various insights into the cameras. I have to ask, for yourself personally, what do you think is the ultimate location for a camera for Africam?
Wow. I suppose, personally, I'd love to see something up in Kenya. I just think that, for me, I really love the sort of locations where you're getting the sort of beauty of the landscape and the animals. And, Kenya to me, with you've got sort of the iconic views of Kilimanjaro and the sort of big tuskers up there. And the sounds are great, and the sort of landscape is so different. So for me, the sort of from a personal point of view, I'd probably say someone up in Kenya, and then maybe looking somewhere down sort of in Chobe. Again, completely different landscape. You're getting, different animals, sort of in different animal behavior, and lots of birds. So those two locations for me would personally be the sort of the locations that I would say are the perfect locations.
Awesome. Well, I'd be very, very excited if that did come along. So thank you very much for joining us, Paul. As I said, it's always a pleasure having you around with us. And we just got time for a couple of questions that we're going to address, folks, before we say goodbye to Paul and to the rest of you. The first one is for me, from Gerald, asking, do you find that the animals behave differently on our cameras as opposed to on a safari drive with humans? Gerald, a great question, and something we touch on quite often on the shows. We will go into those sorts of things when we're watching the animals. As I said, a few days ago we had that beautiful male leopard at Rosie's, and he was absolutely relaxed, sleeping by the edge of the waterhole. But as soon as the vehicle approached, he was a little bit more anxious. Now, it's not unusual for animals like leopard to be a little nervous around vehicles. Depending on where you go and the individual animals, they have different levels of habituation to the noises and sounds and even the sights of vehicles. And some are a little bit more anxious, and some are much more calm. So very often in areas where you have a number of vehicles out on game drive, you find that actually the animals act pretty naturally for the most part. But any anxious or nervous animals, absolutely not. And so that's one of the great benefits of the camera. You're getting a truly natural behavior of the animals, because there's simply no humans around for the most part. Obviously, some of our cameras are at the lodges in the main areas, in which case there will sometimes be people down at the hides where the cameras are. But for the most part, we're seeing natural behavior. So thanks for the question, Gerald, and I hope that answers your question. And then I think we had one more. I think we lost it. No. Oh, there we go. That was one for Paul. Will African Mobile return?
That's a great question. Yes, it will return. When? I'm not sure. We've been working on our back end of the sites. We've made the Africam site a lot faster. We've done a complete sort of back end overhaul to bring you the shows. And the next Africam Mobile is definitely something we're looking at. We totally, we understand that being able to bring you these sightings onto your mobile phone is a great sort of feature, and it's something that's definitely in the pipeline, but I can't tell you when, but it's definitely there, and we know that it's a great product.
Awesome, Paul. Thank you so much. All right, folks. Well, I think that's about all the time we have today. And once again, thank you, Paul, for joining us, and to all the Africam team for the production today. Always a pleasure working with you all. Thanks, folks, for joining us. I hope you enjoyed that show, and it was informative about the locations of our cameras and some of the interesting things that are on the horizon for Africam as a whole. So thanks, as always. Please don't forget to subscribe. Let your friends know all about us, and keep watching. Stay on the cameras, keep your eyes out there, and stay with us for some exciting times ahead. Cheers, everyone. We'll see you all soon.